Reborn is back. Now why does that give me a bad feeling? And why do I feel like I'm forgetting something? Oh well, hello everyone and welcome to Dueling with Downton, and today we're talking all things episode 100, the duel between Yugioh versus Yugioh. Now, I thought this duel would happen eventually in Go Rush, but not like this. Yugioh is standing in the way of our heroes while dawning a new ace monster in Seven's Fear Magician. Let's get started. So let's start off by talking about Yugioh and why he's doing what he is. Well, it turns out that the card that can revive all the Bulgarians is none other than Monster Reborn. More on the revival process later. But we as watchers, as viewers of Sevens, know just how powerful and devastating Monster Reborn can be thanks to the ability to manipulate people's memories and emotions. Which could explain how Go Hard duels got so heavily influenced and prominent within the start of Sevens / the future. So, to use a quote that Yugioh used, he's doing this to make sure that Rush duels stays in the hands of children. Now, we know from Sevens that Monster Reborn was in the possession of Go Hard Company. Now, they used that to seal away Go Hard Yugioh. That's how we knew this. But in this present timeline within Go Rush, things should be a lot different, as we now have the three companies united together. We don't have that split. Instead, Mutaba, Go Hard, and UTS are all together under the same banner that is friendship. Now, that's not to say we still can't see the split happen in the future, because the story still adds up in that regard. Mutaba Town, or Mutaba Company, are still in the more powerful and prominent position. If Go Hard got a hold of Monster Reborn, they could easily change that. So Yugioh has decided to become Otis in order to ensure that children keep rush dueling going into the future. And to do that, he needs to prevent the abilities of Monster Reborn manipulation from ever happening. He needs to stop that card from existing and destroy it. Now, of course, some people would disagree with Yugioh's actions here, as saving millions upon millions of lives should be the top priority. But for Yugioh's character, this does kind of make sense in a way, as he's always been the type of character to never tell anyone his plan or ideas until it's the very last minute. Plus, we know how important rush duels are to him, and of course he would want to save everyone if it was possible, but in this current situation he feels like this is his only course of action. Another thing to add on would be the fact that if Monster Reborn does get used, then all of his efforts while being in Go Rush would be for nothing. We've seen him go to the future already as a cat, and he knows that the future hasn't changed. So, in that regard, if Monster Reborn gets used, everything he's done up till now gets undone. It still plays out like it does in Sevens, and that future is a bleak one for the people he's trying to do it for. So what could this all mean for the ending of Sevens? Well, if Yugioh wins and then becomes Otis, could that still mean that Yugioh returns at the end? Well, kind of, but it wouldn't be the same Yugioh. Instead, for whatever reason, I would think that this basically creates a situation where the final ending bit of Sevens is in an alternative universe, so to speak. So in this time period, Yugioh got sent into space for whatever reason, and then is coming back. So anything that happened before that, or before the Otis duel, is null and void. That's kind of what I think, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, looking more at Seven's Fear Magician, this new card looked amazing. It's got that creepy yet familiar factor to it, and the card itself perfectly represents Yugioh's character right now, as he's fearful of the power of Monster Reborn and who might use it, if anyone at all. Plus, it mimics Seven's Road's Magician, which is Yugioh's ace monster that we've come to know the character with. The effect was pretty cool in lowering your opponent's monsters by a certain amount times the number of attributes you have in your graveyard, which again is very similar to Seven's Road, but instead of increasing your own attack, you're decreasing your opponent's. Basically causing fear within the monster that you're facing. Or if Yugioh loses against Yugioh, and now the plan to use Monster Reborn goes ahead, there's still some faults in this plan. As, if I'm understanding this correctly, in order to bring back the Vulgarians, they need to use this card during a duel with two people, and those two people need to think of the person they want to bring back, and then that personality will be created again, and thus them coming back to life. But a big issue I have with this is if another person that you're dueling has a massively negative memory of the person you're trying to bring back, could that bring back a different person altogether? Because this way is so kind of fragile with bringing people back that it might not bring them back the way you actually remember them. Or instead, it might bring them back the way you remember them, but not the way they should be. So yeah, it's a double-edged sword in terms of a plan, and I think there's more trouble than it's actually worth. Now going back to the actual plan itself as well, I loved how with the visuals of seeing the machine and the beams kind of connecting, making a shape, it makes a shape that is almost very similar to the Goha logo. Not quite exact, but very similar. So this adds more kind of juice into the theory of Goha using Monster Reborn to get Goha duels back to the center. Honestly, I love seeing Yuga play the antagonistic role in this scenario. It somewhat reminds me of him doing his Devil Yuga in the duel against the Luke Man. And yes, I am more excited about seeing how this duel goes now after this one episode. Hopefully we learn a lot more, and hopefully things keep rolling. Let me know your thoughts on this episode in the comments down below. See you again soon. Have a great day. Alligator, matane. Goodbye.